the owner or GM does not understand why, like what is the root cause of the coach's pushback, it's because they don't want to look stupid. Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
As both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better
boxes.
Welcome to
The best hour of your day. Today's episode is brought to you by ENLIFTED. As a best hour listener, you know that training your mind is just as important as training your body. ENLIFTED provides elite coaches and affiliates with practical, powerful mindset tools that can transform your athletes, your gym's culture, and give you an unshakable edge as an affiliate owner. Learn more by signing up for your free mindset training at enlifted.me/best hour. ENLIFTED, mindset simplified, results amplified.
Are you kicking off the show, Ren?
Oh, duh.
I mean, I have in my notes from people pleaser to leader. Are you going to lead this show?
That's right. Let's go.
My extensive notes about you.
I got more notes than that. Jeez, I guess I'm a simple person.
Well, we're here with Ren and Micah, owner of CrossFit FLxR.
Yes.
We're going to obviously want to know where that name came from. So let's just kick off there. FLxR.
Yes, FLxR is Fit Life by Ren. So.
Oh, that's like Body by Jake.
Yeah, Body by Jake.
It was
That's what I was
And
going for.
I stole it by Body by Jake.
It's when she had her personal training business and transitioned into owning the CrossFit gym. We were trying to figure out what to name it, and then we just said, "Oh, let's just take that and squish it together."
Fit Life
I think
by
it's cool.
Ren?
Yeah. So.
I thought it was always one of the names where like you remove the vowels from something, and I never thought beyond that to figure out what word it was.
Well, technically that is what they did, but
No,
I'm
but
gonna
that's an
adjust these
acronym.
audio
No,
levels.
that's an acronym.
It's an acronym.
I was saying, like, you ever see, like, remember back in the day on the old CrossFit shorts, the unknown and unknowable, they got rid of the O's and the A's?
yes.
That's what I mean.
Reebok.
Yeah,
Reebok was trying to make things that didn't need to be clever.
Right. So that's what I thought it was. Oh, Fit Life by Ren.
Yeah. So, I had a personal training business, and it was doing really well. I outgrew the space, and I had been coaching at the CrossFit gym that I currently own and had an opportunity to buy it. So took that on, was able to bring my personal training business
That's
over
weird
there.
that they had their gym and they called it Fit Life by Ren, too.
Well, it's an interesting
No,
story
something
that you
else.
were a member. It's a unique story that you were a member and then you bought the gym.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We've never
No
dealt
one
with
ever does that, right? Isn't that?
And it always
member
works
coach,
out.
yeah.
It's
Gym
always
owner.
very smooth. The members are pleased. The former owner isn't a turd. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What was the name of it?
It was House of CrossFit.
Okay. Like House of Cards.
Yes.
Yes.
Or House of Pain.
Ooh, jump around.
There you go.
Can you tell it's our first podcast?
Yeah, you guys have never
of
done
the
this
weekend
before.
yet? No, we are here.
No, the first one's always a bit discombobulated.
Yeah, we're in San Diego at the
West Coast Summit.
we're at the West Coast Summit. So we got you, your beautiful husband Micah, firefighter.
Yes.
So cute.
He is cute.
Adorable.
We hear he makes a mean breakfast.
I was
going to
fall down the stairs just so that you would rescue me.
Well, I would call someone on duty and they'd come get you.
Yeah, because you just got you work.
Oh, hey,
48.
I definitely need mouth to mouth. Yeah.
Yes.
You're fine.
That's our running
Just
joke.
in case.
I
Just in case.
would poke you with my foot and be like, yeah, I think you're okay.
What do you do?
He's not dying.
48 on, 72 off?
Yeah, we work a 48, 96 shifts. So 2 days on, 4 days off. Unless it's fire season, then it's whatever we can get.
How much sleep do you get?
Is it always fire season here?
It is all, yeah. Fire season is now year round, especially right now. The amount of sleep I get depends on how many times people need us in the middle of the night.
That's obvious, Micah. But I'm, like, what's normal? Like, how much did you sleep in the last 2 days?
I want to say I got 4 hours the first night, and I probably got 3-ish hours last night.
That's a good night.
It's a good night.
That's a good night.
Well, I always tell Dren if I can get 4 solid blocks of hours, I'm good to go for the next 24.
How much longer are you doing this?
To hit my 30 years.
You got to put 30
I
in?
got 30 years to get my full pension, so I got
That's a
another
long time.
20
a long time.
years.
Oh,
20,
you're-
no, 17 years.
You didn't. This wasn't your first career.
No, I was a EMT, the medic for a private ambulance company, then a reserve firefighter, and then I finally went through all the stuff. And it's like a 4-year process to go from I want to be a firefighter paramedic to being a firefighter
Hey,
paramedic.
the show's about Red.
I know.
Enough.
In fairness, you did ask him.
We have been together since day one of paramedic school, and so she's seen my entire
What, were
journey.
you a paramedic?
No.
But like literally on day one you met, or you've just been together?
No, like
We went to high school together.
we went to high school
You guys
together.
are high school sweethearts?
We're not high school sweethearts, but we went to high school together.
We knew each other in high
You
school.
guys were dating other people?
yeah,
Sort of
something
thing?
like that.
Yeah.
Really? So you, and how long you been married now?
14 years.
Yes,
Right,
coming up.
Coming up 14 years.
Nice.
2011.
2011.
What, do you have 2 kids?
2 kids.
When in 2011?
April 30th.
April 30th.
Mike is like, you start.
You
You
go
go
first.
first.
There's a
It gets a
story
little
for
confusing.
I always win that
Oh,
with
I
my wife.
what?
She never
Well, we
remembers.
can tell you about it offline.
That's an offline one?
Yeah.
offline moment.
All right, we'll do that.
It's
So,
not one for public knowledge.
Fern was joking, but we've seen it time and time again. You know, a former member takes over a box, and there's inherently a lot of resuscitating that needs to be done at the gym, whether it's fixing the culture or getting the coaches on board or changing the programming. And one of the things that you've really went through at FLxR is getting the standard to be the standard.
Definitely.
And there's been multiple iterations of that. So just taking over the box,
Very
then
nice.
have to do a bit of a coaching transition, meaning like you have to essentially do a complete overhaul of the coaching staff for all intents and purposes to create that culture that is now yours.
Yeah. And to be honest, I do have a few of them still. But there have been a lot of changes, right? We've gone through a lot of different coaches. It took me, I'm almost 6 years in to finally realize like some of the old had to go. So yeah,
So stay there because this is very common. What is the resistance, or at least for you specifically? I don't mean just generally. For you, what was the reservation, if any, or why did it take 6 years?
I
Took me a
think,
while to get to that question, so I apologize.
yeah, no, I mean,
Why did it take you so long to get to that question?
I think not having like confidence in my own self, my own capabilities.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of fear of like what would happen if I did things differently than how it's been done for, this, like I said, this was a pre-existing gym, and for long term, it was with 4 different owners prior to me. I mean, the very first owner was
You're number 5.
Eric Preston was the very first owner of this gym.
That's okay. House of
Yeah.
CrossFit. Gotcha.
Yeah.
San Alejo CrossFit.
I think it was San Alejo.
Yeah, he also owned
Yeah.
CrossFit FLxR. So
Yeah, felt like a run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like when I first took it over from the owner at that time, I made it very clear that I wanted to do things a little bit differently than how it had been done. And so in order for me to do that, I wanted to completely rebrand it. I just wanted to start fresh. And so that's why I brought that name over as opposed to keeping House of CrossFit is a pretty cool name.
I think it's cool.
So-
But I think FLxR's cool.
Yeah.
I do think it's a unique scenario. Someone takes over, almost always, but not 100%. It's like the gym, something's going wrong. That's why the owner wants out, right? It's either not making enough money, too stressful, whatever reason. And then the new owner comes in, and the old owner, the old coaches, the members, like, don't change anything. And you're like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason he wants it out or she wants it out.
Right.
And if it's not enough money, like, we need to change potentially rates, or we need to get new members, or if the staff wasn't on board, we need to change things.
Yeah.
So
And-
I think to Fern's question, that's probably like the confidence of, I need to make these changes, but I'm afraid if I
Mhm.
make these changes, something's going to change. But you needed something to change.
Yeah, and I'd never done this before. Like most first gym owners.
apparently neither the previous.
I mean, I came from a background in software development. I worked for a pharma company in La Jolla, and so I did have some experience with management. Like I did that with Target, and I did that for Covance. So like I had that experience, so I knew I could bring some of the business mindset to it. But in terms of like CrossFit, like I was fairly new to it. So I was an athlete for a year, became a coach after that, and then I coached. I would say, I don't know, how long was it that I coached for House of CrossFit before I took it over?
A little while, because you did your L1 and L2, and you're in.
Maybe it's been because my 6 years of ownership is coming up. So, and I think I've been doing CrossFit for almost 10. I think the end of the year, it might be 10 years.
So 4 years. I mean, you're there
So-
for that's a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you showed up and 6 months later you were the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't do anything other than coach. So, so like that's what I knew how to do was
Very
coach.
rarely
Right. You weren't.
is the person that buys it doing anything other than coaching or a member or being a member.
Yeah. So meanwhile, I am running a personal training business. I had a brick and mortar in another location, so I'm working for both places. I'm super passionate about CrossFit, but I didn't have the membership to like open up my CrossFit gym, and so I started dabbling in that kind of stuff with like small group personal training, and then finally, the opportunity presented itself. Basically, the owner was like, "Hey, I'm going to close the doors. Do you want to take this on?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
Because you were looking to expand your personal training business anyway, and the gym offered you a bigger space anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I think we knew it was going to be a hard challenge. I'm big on challenges. Like, I'm all about, like, it'll tell you, like, we love grit. Like,
we're going on a 50-mile hike tomorrow.
We leave Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. 48 miles. We're climbing Mount Whitney. So we're big on, like, doing really hard things that are mentally challenging. Like, I've talked to you about that a little bit, Fern. But I think there was a lot of other things that came we didn't really expect, like, a pandemic. Like, didn't really expect that to come. Hiring the wrong people caused a cultural shift. That was really hard. And then
issues with permitting in the city.
Oh my gosh, the issues with the permitting in the city.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you had that huge issue, maybe like
Dude, huge shout out to
ago,
Randy and Chaucer.
Yeah, they helped
Randy helped me save so much money.
Yeah.
Like, I remember
we're gonna edit this out so Randy doesn't get any positive talk.
It was like, just a couple months into Best Hour, and then him reaching out in a call, and I was like crying because I'm like, I'm so stressed. Like, I'm considering closing my gym because I can't get this damn thing. And he helped me. He told me what to do. Like, got in front of city council, spoke in front of the mayor, and they right on the spot, like, made an exception, decreased like $10,000 in fees so that it was something that I was able to afford.
You had fees that were backdated. You had like a backlog of fees for, I forget what it was, right?
It was like something about the road, wasn't it?
No. So zoning, in California and probably other states, like, you have to be zoned for specific uses. And the zone that I'm in is light industrial and small offices. It is not zoned for healthcare or gym facilities. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to get a conditional use permit that gave me the approval to be in that space. Well, it had never been obtained. And
she needed to get her business license, which was attached to the conditional use permit, and so it was all
right,
just.
It's like, you need this to get that, but how do you get this?
Yeah, and I knew that was going to be coming because when the previous owner handed it off to me, he was like, "Hey, just want to let you know, like, this happened. This happened." Yeah.
Here you go.
He's like, by
Did you
the
sign
way,
the paperwork? Oh, by the way.
I mean, I knew because I was dealing with that for the personal training business too. I had like the city coming after me, a different city, so I was like, all right, like. We're in. We're gonna have to go after this. Randy got me through it.
Randy,
that
by the way,
alone saved me $10,000.
346 grid.
Yep.
He's actually the mayor of the town, not the town the box is in. I think it's called Toutville.
I don't remember.
No idea. I just know it's outside of Portland.
Yeah, he's the mayor outside of Portland.
Up there somewhere.
Yeah.
But very helpful in that.
Every CrossFit affiliate knows that mindset is either what limits or unlocks an athlete's potential. But the problem is most people can't give you a simple and clear definition of what mindset is. And most coaches don't have a repeatable or practical tool to consistently train it. ENLIFTED is here to help you solve that. ENLIFTED is here to help box owners and their coaches become world-class mindset pros by creating a simple, repeatable system for keeping you and your athletes focused and confident. You see, ENLIFTED's definition of mindset is simple. Mindset is the story that you tell yourself. And our good friend, Mark England, who's the head coach over at ENLIFTED, will show you how simple words and better breathing can help create better stories and ultimately better performance for you and your athletes. If you want your athletes to stay engaged longer, if you want them to be more consistent with their results, if you want your current members to stay with you longer instead of you having to chase down new ones, mindset must be a part of your business toolkit. At Best Hour, we use the ENLIFTED method all the time. We have our own personal program inside of Best Hour, and a lot of our coaches have been trained personally by Mark. We literally use these tools every single day. You see, elite coaches must have the ability to get past their clients' mindset blocks, whether it's an athlete who's sensitive about their weight or coming back from an injury, or even if it's something outside of the box that's affecting their performance inside it, you must have the tools to empower that athlete where they need it most. So if you're serious about building a top-tier box with an elite mindset culture, upgrading your team, and supporting clients at every level, ENLIFTED is for you. Head on over to enlifted.me/best hour and grab your exclusive free mindset training. ENLIFTED. Mindset simplified, results amplified. All right, guys, if you like this content, please subscribe to the podcast. But understand, we work with affiliates. If you are interested in building your business, understanding strategy, building a better community, and building better coaches and careers for them, hit the link somewhere around this video, and we'd love to have a call with you.
So what are some of the other areas of the box? We talked maybe coaches. How did you increase or up the standard, I should say, for them?
Oh my gosh, so much. One of the big things that I had that was like super big pet peeve of mine is coaches worked out during class while they were coaching their class.
I do remember talking about this.
I mean, day one, a message went out. No one's working out while they're coaching.
That's hard. Like, that's something where it's like every time we post about it, like, is this a real thing? Like, do people still do that? Yes.
Yes.
And then two, 100%. It's like if Monday that was allowed, and all of a sudden you come in Tuesday, even though we understand
you have a problem.
Why, it's like it's going to be an issue.
You already have a problem. Now you have another problem because there's people that are going to be very resistant to that. Like, hey, it's fine working the way it is, and you're like, it's not fine.
Yeah.
You don't know many things about how it's not fine. We have to change this.
I've always gotten paid not to work. Why is it not okay now?
Well, like my whole thing was like, well, how are you making corrections to people's technique if you were focusing on your own lifts? Mm-hmm. And then like one of the questions that came up as well is like, well, there's only one person. They don't want to work out alone. I was like, I came from a personal training background. So like, to me, that doesn't really work. Like, I would rather use it as an opportunity to give this person private personal training. Like, let's make them move better.
Yeah. That I have always found that to be, so I vividly remember this because you would coach large classes. And the thing about having large classes, which is great, you can hide your lack of skills due to the nature of the busyness of the class. So as the number comes down, your proficiency in the skill set becomes more and more prominent, or less and less prominent, meaning like if you're not very good, the less people in the class, the more obvious it is that you don't know what you're doing versus the more people in the class because there's just chaos happening.
Yeah.
So you should be correcting a whole lot more with
Way
three
more,
people.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people, as the classes get smaller, that becomes readily apparent to them, at which point they're like, oh, I'll just work out instead of basically maybe exposing myself to this group. And I don't fault anybody for that. I vividly remember going through that. We'd have one person come in for the 6 a.m. and I was like, oh, I can't coach you for an hour. I don't know how to do that. Okay. And, but I was like, oh, 18, that's great. Like, I could just run around and yell things, right? You know, instead of actually coaching. And I think that's, somebody else was talking, what were we talking about? This came up in a small group call last week, I think, about, reducing class caps. And, a lot of times the coaching staff will have resistance to an owner or manager coming in and saying, hey, no more class caps. We're going to do that. And there's typically friction involved with that interaction. And a lot of times I think it is because the owner or GM does not understand why, like what is the root cause of the coach's pushback? It's because they don't want to look stupid.
Or they're not good at group management.
This is my point. They don't want to look stupid because they're not good at doing a higher volume of that. And I said, if you understand why they have the reservation and what their pushback is about, well, then you can just provide them with solutions rather than arguing with them about like, should we or shouldn't we? And you just go right to the, hey, what is it that you're worried about? Or like, it's too many people and the class is going to run over and I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm like, oh, okay, those are all solvable problems.
Yeah.
You know, not instead of just going to, well, I just can't manage it. But why can't you? What about this scenario can you not manage? And I think a lot of box owner, if you enter the conversation with that in the back of your head, is like, there will be pushback, but I understand why they would have pushback. Their pushback is very much warranted. How can I solve that problem for them? At which point I'll have less and less pushback in that scenario. And it's the same thing. We're just like, hey, we're not going to be working out in classes anymore. Immediately, all of those people are like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't want to do that. This is dumb. It's been working the way that's fine, just the way that it is.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like another thing that we had to kind of ramp up is we did a ton of investment in coach development. So like I created a reimbursement program for education. So I reimbursed 50% of any continuing education that my coaches want, like L1, as long as it's relatable to the business. So I've, 5 coaches got their L2 this year, I believe.
5?
I think it was
That's
5.
awesome.
Maybe it was 4, but there was a lot.
I knew it was a couple. I knew
4,
it was, yeah.
including me. So.
Oh yeah, 4 then. Okay, so
Okay.
4, and then we just had the Bergener course, and I've got the gymnastics course coming up, and one of my coaches just told me she wants to take the USAW too, and I'm like, I haven't replied back to her, but for sure I'm gonna help.
Is
pay
she
for that
planning
'cause
on coaching weightlifters in meets?
she coaches our barbell classes. Yeah. So
This could be wrong, but I'm gonna I believe this still be like anything past the USAW level 1 is really only if you're going to be coaching. Not that there's not more to be learned there, but it's from a credential standpoint. This is if you're going to start having a team that's going to be going to meets.
We have. So a couple of years ago, we were really big and had a USAW barbell club. She and I actually did a lot of different meets. We did like open series in Reno a few years ago. Right. And we do not have the largest barbell club in the United States like you, but you know, we do have interest that's growing.
Full disclosure, by accident, like that just happened. That's why I never talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we have always tried to build that, but we haven't made it a priority because it's not our bread and butter. Like CrossFit is our bread and butter. And so like I've always try to put 100% focus in that, and then.
But you are building your barbell club, which is it adds to the membership and people enjoy it. So I think it's a good thing.
It's a great tool if people. Every CrossFitter goes through cycles where they have like shiny object syndrome. They want to go do something else for a little bit, and I think this is a really slippery slope because this has a lot to do with like, do I pursue that thing? Do I just continue doing more of the core thing? And I think if there are few scenarios, I do think they are rare, when adding something like that allows for a little bit of flexibility in the walls of the facility, where rather than canceling, like, I'm going to go lift weights for a couple of months.
Yeah.
When I get tired of that, I'll come back and I'll do this.
I mean, I did that before.
But it's also, if you have a coach that's excited to do it, versus a lot of times it's like, I don't really want to coach this, but I'll do it because going back to Randy, like Randy went through that. It's like, we've got 5 members that really want to do Olympic lifting. I'm not passionate about it, but I'm going to start a weightlifting.
It's not for everybody. I do not think you should spin up any program, for that matter, haphazardly. I think you should put a lot of thought into it. And if it makes, for me, things like that, it has to be a hell yes. There can be no reservations. There can't be a single thing and there's like, well, you know, if this goes right, then it'll work out. And I'm like, okay, then we're not doing it. It has to be, all of the things have to align. Which is the only reason we run the barbell club at our gym.
Yeah, I mean,
all the things aligned.
Great coach, Phil, right?
Correct.
Who, like, to be candid, like, you don't do anything.
No.
Right, like, he runs it.
He's a former national champion. He's a coach. His coach was an Olympic coach. They have a huge like virtual team as well. But we have 65 weightlifters.
You also have a space that lends it, like it's its own little alcove, if you will.
But that happened because we did it in the smaller space first, and it became unsafe. Meaning, I would walk in
smaller
multiple.
Safe at the current Rife, like where the
main space is, and everybody was in there for 2 years.
Gym and lifting.
Yep.
Okay.
So there would be 18 people like bumped up against that one wall lifting weights, and there'd be a full class going on in there, and it was legitimately like I walked in for probably 2 months straight. Every day having anxiety.
Anybody die today?
I was waiting for somebody to get whacked in the head with a barbell or something like that, and we finally had to make the move and expand the space. So
that's
now
why you expanded.
They now have their own space, but we did not start that way.
So you increase the standard is the standard, as we say. You increase that. Coaches eventually came on board, but there were challenges.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've made it now? Do you feel like you're at the point where the team you have is? Keep in mind, they're probably going to be watching this. Keep in mind.
One of them sitting in the other room.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Sarah's one of my only coaches, actually, and she's someone, you were talking about that, incredibly passionate about it. So, like, she does a really good job.
Is she the one that wants to do the level 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but do you feel like you're there? Or do you feel like there's still room to grow?
There's still room to grow.
Yeah. And I think to be fair, there always is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we've really leveled up. Something I did this year is I made coach development a requirement through Best Hour. And I was like, look, I'm paying you an hour and a half every week to jump on a call and to do the homework. Like,
pay them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
How was that received? I feel like you're about to have different answers.
No.
It's probably the same. Go ahead. Yeah, why don't you get in on here?
You want to have a good hike, Micah?
Well, this is one area where I'm trying to help her out. Is I'm like,
page.
hey, I'll manage the Slack channel, make sure people aren't doing the coach develop. So I'm like the annoying little bug in the corner. Like, hey guys, lesson 10's up. Make sure you get it done. And
you gotta have that though.
Well, yeah, and it's just accountability, right? And it's busy. People are busy, and so it's reminding them to make it a priority,
right?
And reminding them like, hey, make sure you send that email in, and then send out the reminder of when the Zoom meetings are and that type of stuff.
This is a perfect example of, I think what you're doing is exactly what should be done. Meaning, like, hey, you have to be a little bit annoying, and this is where I think many gym owners, GMs, they struggle. I'm like, hey, I have to remind them all the time. And I'm like, that is your job. is to remind them incessantly that they have to do the thing. They're like, why? And I'm like, that's just how it works.
There's a difference between micromanagement and accountability.
Correct.
And
Correct.
you're just holding
They have a
them
lot of
accountable.
overlap, though.
Sure, but you have to remember
I'm
this.
not telling them how to do it, but just reminding them, hey, you got it.
You got to do
And then
it.
giving them resources. Like,
Right.
Like Ren and I will do it, and then she'll submit her video. Hey, guys, this is how I did it this week.
Yeah, I share my video
That was
with
a big
all of
thing,
them.
too, we've spoken about, where the boxes that work with us that have the best coach development crews, the owners or leaders are doing it.
This is my 4th semester doing it.
I was.
Have you done better?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was reading.
I hope so.
Yes.
Yes.
I told you I'm
Allison,
going to take my L4 next year.
That's right.
Allison had brought up a book. It's called The 6 Types of Working Genius, I think, and one of them is like an activator. And I think a lot of people misinterpret some micromanaging for somebody who's an activator like this, which is somebody who has no problem prodding the group. Be like, hey guys, we got to go. Let's do the thing.
But
They're
I'm
not
here with you. I'm doing it with you.
But
right?
the point is, they're not micromanaging. It's just like somebody has to move the group. Like somebody has to come in and be like, hey guys, we got to get that thing turned in.
I don't mind being the bad cop. So she
Right.
can be
This
like,
is somebody
nice
who's
friendly owner.
who's an activator, who's like, hey, I'm the one who initiates movement. And then once everybody's moving, we're good. You're not micromanaging, but you have to understand, like, some people, you need an activator in your group. Somebody who just comes and be like, hey, reminder, we need to get that done. Turn that in today. And everybody's like, I know. But I'm like, I know you know, but if I don't tell you, you're not going to do it because you're going to forget or something's going to come up. And that's not micromanaging. Like, that's a pivotal role inside of any team. Is like every team needs somebody who's going to come in and activate the group to get going. Because otherwise, because a lot of those people are not inherent activators. Right, that's not their nature to be like to grab the group and say, "Let's go, let's do it." You need like those sheepdogs,
Right.
who are just like they're just nipping at everybody's heels. I'm like, yeah, but if we don't do that, the herd won't move. We'll be here forever.
And
So you need somebody.
I would say like micromanagement would be like, hey, when you film this one, make sure you put the camera here, do this. Like,
Yes.
cool. Like now you're micromanaging me,
Yeah.
like reminding me and watching me. Oh, Ren turned hers in. Let me go see what she
Right.
did. Is very different.
Yeah.
Another thing that you've done really well at the box is a lot of affiliates, are competitive gyms.
Yes.
And you've made the slow, subtle shift from competitive to more health-oriented, health-focused.
Yes. I want to be careful of that because I think it was DT who did a video recently and was like, everyone is competitive. You just, in your own way, you're competing with yourself to get better and better. Right?
And I also
Like,
think, like, I go to a box now, Cold Creek CrossFit. It's across the street. And there's a lady there, Emily. She was like, we're talking, and I was like, I'm trying to beat you, Emily. She was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you see your score? I want to be faster than that. And she was like, but I used 85. You use it like, but I was like, I know. I was like, I don't care if you use PVC. Like, that's what's fun about CrossFit. Like, I'll line up next year, and like the other day there was a guy named Steve, and I was like, we're looking at, like, I'm like, you know how it is. Like, the set of 21 kicks out. Oh, he dropped it. Like, I gotta go. Like, this is my right. But that's fun. Like, there's a difference between like I'm competing with you to be the best version of me, and like I'm competing because I'm going to a local competition that pays zero, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's where the mistake happens.
I think a lot of that was kind of just growth. I think I've done over the last 2 years, or like with FLxR, I've had a lot of personal growth recently in terms
I
of like.
would 100%.
Yeah,
You're in the running for
Yeah, I get
biggest-
far less emails
biggest,
from Ren.
I'm like, shit, Bird, help!
text.
I just text
But
after
your
a minute
texts
now.
are like positive a lot of the
Yeah,
time. Right?
yeah, I would say
But no,
so.
Allie, we joke about, got most valuable player in 2023.
I'm
I
most
think I told you
improved.
on the call, one of the calls, you're up there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank
Yeah,
you. I
20
appreciate
You're in
that.
the running, I should say.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about this recently. They're like the interactions that we have with gym owners are similar to the interactions that you have with your clients and your members. Where for a while, they're a certain flavor of interaction, which is like, this isn't working, or this is crisis, or whatever. And then eventually, as they kind of have worked themselves through the process, or they've kind of made it to the backside of whatever that hill looks like, then the interactions or the updates, or they look different, where a lot of times the interactions would be like, I have an emergency, I need your help with this. And now they are very much, here's a win that I had, I just wanted to let you guys know. And I'm like,
we love those. And I would tell our
Yeah.
clients, I'm like, please send those. Like, no different than you as the owner. It's like, don't just complain that toilets need to be clean. Like, tell me you hit a PR today.
Yeah.
Like, we want to celebrate your wins.
Well, selfishly, that keeps us going.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's like,
otherwise we would just
and-
get bad
and-
news.
And
from
you
everybody.
think when you send it to me, like, I don't immediately text him, and I'm like, yo, Ren just paid herself, or Ren.
You sent it to the whole group. I got a screenshot
Yeah.
from someone. I
We
can't
share
remember what
that.
it was
some
about.
some of the stuff we share about you, we
There was,
can't talk
it was the
about.
a different
iPhone
show.
thing. The iPhone thing. Lindsay
different-
like sends me a screenshot and just starts laughing at me.
different
I'm
channel.
like,
Because Ren's like, yeah, that's a
I'm an
different
Android.
channel.
We're Android
Lindsay-
users.
Lindsay-
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
'cause
yeah. That's
She
another.
was like, what'd you say to me? You're like, I'm going to pay myself. I was like, buy yourself an iPhone.
Yeah, yeah. And then she screenshots and sends it to me, busting up laughing because she's been trying to tell me to get an iPhone too.
Oh,
I'm just
Nate, you
like,
commented on that actually.
that's why he just laughed
Because
really
he was like, Ren's trying to celebrate. You're yelling at her to get an iPhone.
Well, I was just telling Micah that I'm considering buying, or maybe I've told you
We
this a little
talked
bit,
about
A work
an
phone.
additional phone because I like honestly the notifications on my phone gives me anxiety.
Well, you can control
So-
that for the record. You don't need to become a drug dealer and have two phones. Like, you could just
burner phone.
adjust your notifications.
So I got my burner this month.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the green thing is an issue.
I mean, it's not anymore. Didn't iPhone finally get with the times?
No, because when you like a comment, like,
Hold
I
on,
don't.
Nate has the update.
Yeah, they
No, no.
have to.
It's
Like, they're not allowed to like
iOS 18
blacklist us
fin-
anymore.
finally.
Oh,
there's-
really?
You
Yeah.
can
They're
see
all
when
blue?
it's.
Well, it's
No.
green, but
But
you
when
can
you
see
like
photos and videos
something,
now.
it's like Ren liked your.
Oh,
Not
that's
anymore.
new?
Not anymore. Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
They
If that's
realized
the-
they
if
were
that's the
being
case-
Glad we solved
discriminative.
that.
I do
everybody.
like that one that opens, like the flip Samsung. Like, I can get
Yeah.
behind
I've
it.
seen a lot of those lately.
Are they? So anyway.
All right, bringing you guys back on track because I'm leading this.
This is your fault. Talk about the shift from competitiveness to health.
You know, honestly, I think there's a couple of things that are factors in that. I think they're maturity, right? So we got older.
Surprising.
So it hurts to do that much volume all the time.
Was it that you just got older? Because I don't know that.
No, I think a lot of it was,
Smarter.
smarter. I think in the beginning, like I was very much like, I want to compete. And while I still love to compete,
I feel like I'm
which is
squeezing
okay.
my kid
It's all
here. I
good.
feel like
What's
you
that?
want to
No,
spread
I got
out.
these
Spread out.
long legs.
yeah, I think I realized like that's not the majority. Like that's the 1.01% of the population. And that wasn't keeping people, you know, by any means. And that wasn't something that like we were
Because you did have a
experts.
bit of a churn problem for a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did. We were having issues
But
with retention.
it's common to have churn problems when you have competitive athletes. I think it's more common.
Well, I think the reason I asked that question is because I don't listen. We're all going to get older. The question is like, are you the same person that you were in 5 years that you are today? And hopefully the answer is no.
No.
I would argue as an observer that you finally got clear on what you wanted.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think I think the way that I was operating before was just putting out fires as they came. You know, like I was reactive instead of whatever the opposite of reactive.
Proactive.
Proactive. Sorry. So yeah, and I think something that Best Hour taught me was to get policies in place and have different programs, right?
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that like I love to help other affiliate owners now, and I don't know that that's always the culture. I know that's something that you guys have done really well to help with, and I'm trying to kind of, you know, I partner with like Zia a little bit on this stuff and trying to do that with local affiliates. But, you know, our competition isn't one another, it's the couch. And so like, those are the people that I want to help versus the elite athletes who are trying to go to the games. I mean, I shared a little bit about my background with you guys, but like I came from, you know, I had some ED issues that were going on when I was younger, and finding CrossFit helped me change my mindset about food. It helped me start doing things for performance based and realizing that like I was happy with what I could do versus like how I looked, and how I looked was a benefit, right? It's a bonus, but, the fact that I feel like that was like life-saving, that it helped me mentally change that. And so I wanted to start being able to give that to other people as well. So I think that's kind of like where that started to go. How else do you think we made that shift?
I would say one thing that, especially after joining Best Hour, was you got rid of your imposter syndrome. I know Joel's talked about it, the masterminds, but you actually know what you're doing. And I told you this the other day, you're a student of the craft. Like just like I'm a firefighter and I know what I'm doing, you know what you're doing now. And there's no more like asking 30 people, what should I do in this situation? You know what you want to do. You might get some feelers just to get buy-in, but you have a direction of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you have that now at the gym more than you ever have before.
I also think CrossFit as a competitor is not sustainable. And I want people to be able to do CrossFit forever because not only because of the health benefits, but the community. Like the community is amazing. It's outstanding. And so I think that was another reason why I decided to go in that direction as well.
How bad was it? Like that competitive atmosphere in the gym, right? Because there's levels to everything. But like what, if you were to give some tangible components of, so if somebody's listening to this, like, oh, I might have that same scenario. I might need to think about changing this in some way.
I don't know if it was I don't think it was that bad, to be honest. And I don't even know if like competitive is the right answer. What people were accustomed to and wanted was a strength plus metcon every single day. And they just wanted to bust themselves up, and to the point where injuries were happening, and they would continue training beyond injuries because they wanted to beat that person in the class next, after them. So I think that was kind of what was happening.
Got it.
Just a competitive nature, and it was hurting us versus pushing us in a direction of health and wellness versus like, oh, now everyone's got a knee injury, everyone's got an elbow injury, everyone's got a back injury.
Yeah, I think there's probably as you were talking about earlier, I was trying to figure out like there's a difference between there's a competitive vibe in here and competition being the desired outcome.
Yeah, and I think to your questions, like you have to define it, right? And I think a couple of things you might throw out there would be, like Ren said, you're training beyond hurt, you're letting ego get in the way. So there's not enough scaling happening because you want to click that RX button.
Yes.
Like
that was it. Everyone wanted RX.
The big one. There's probably like,
you stop interacting with the rest of the community.
I was going to say a percentage of people that need to do their own programming.
Yeah.
Like, that would be like, we have a competitive box. And then there's a percentage of people that do all the local competitions, good or bad, without much thought behind it.
Yeah.
Like, just like, I'm going to compete for this. Like, if you compete too many times, you're going to, like you said,
it's a double-edged sword for sure. I've always thought there is a positive component of having that inside the walls of your gym.
And I will say, like, not to toot my own horn, but I show up at this box and I go in there and I'm like, I'm throwing down with you guys. Like, we're going, and it's only been like a month, but you see it. Like, we're all pushing a little harder. And that's the goal. Like, we're all pushing harder to better ourselves. Not because we're like, none of us are doing different. We're all still showing up to do the wall. Like, whatever shows up, good or bad, we're here together. And I'm trying to beat Steve, and Steve's trying to beat Emily, and Emily's trying to beat Katie. And it's like, that's what raises the tide, and we're all going to get fitter because of it. Like you're saying, we're not a competitive box, but we're competing in an effort to be better.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I'll be honest, like in terms of, I just lost my train of thought. You were talking
competition.
Yeah.
How great I am.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was. Oh, no.
See?
The biggest, that's so funny. The biggest thing, honestly, if I have to be like completely honest, like poke out one thing, is like young competitors don't pay the bills.
There you go. No. That's an amen.
They don't pay the bills. It's people who are later in life who have careers.
Well, and also
people with jobs pay
people with jobs pay the bills. And it's like, I'm not going to keep chasing these people who don't have money to pay their membership. Like, I want to chase people who are truly invested in the outcome of their life, and they see the value.
And invested by paying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important. You're running a bit. This isn't a not-for-profit, right? Like,
right. I want to make money.
And you're putting a lot of time and effort into them. It's nice to know they're going to be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I had one of the guys I worked with who always talk crap on me, like CrossFit, dumb, so dumb. And then he came and we did a charity event, and it was Grace, and he did it. And everyone's cheering him on and stuff. And he's like, I guess I should sign up. So he signed up. That's awesome.
Yeah, he goes to our gym.
Awesome. Hit Grace
cool.
RX day one?
No, he didn't RX it, but he did it. And
you're like, that was great. The girls did more, right? That's cool.
I mean, he got to feel the true experience of CrossFit. Like, everyone finished, and he's like, I'm just going to stop. I was like, no, man, how many reps you got left? He's like, 5. I'm like, let's
30.
go. Yeah, let's go.
Did we start yet?
Oh, we started? No. Yeah, but I'm like, no, you're going to finish this. Like, that's what CrossFit's about. We don't stop until everyone's finished.
Well, he came to me actually at work. He's like, hey, I put 30 pounds on my back squat. I'm like, well, good for you.
Yeah. You think that's going to help you at the fire department?
Yeah,
of course.
100%.
And what's really cool too is like, he doesn't live close to us. Like, you probably don't understand like, what cities that are near us, but he drives like,
you don't understand
how far
cities.
I mean, around us.
What, like
drive. 40 minutes?
It's 45 minutes.
45 minutes to come to our classes.
That's a hike to go to a gym.
Yeah. That's probably our furthest commute. We have a lot of far commuters though. They I think
There's no shortage of gyms.
we've done really well.
We're like across the street from Invictus, right? Yeah.
Like, no joke, there are 5 or 6 CrossFit gyms within a 5-mile radius.
You're near, where CrossFit started. Yeah.
I'm in the.
Well, when you first took over the gym, you could throw a rock and hit another CrossFit gym. I think in like a 3-mile square radius, I think we counted 7 at one point.
Yeah.
And how many are now?
Less.
Probably like 5.
Yeah, but the population here can support it.
Yeah,
like
population.
It's super dense. Yeah.
So
There's still a lot.
well, this has been great, and like Fern said, it's been great to see you develop as a leader. We love getting your texts. I look forward to blue bubbles.
It's not happening.
One last,
It almost broke our marriage up. So
Hey,
just kidding.
Speaking of that, one last question about your marriage breaking up. What have you noticed about Ren as she's developed as a leader? What's it meant to your marriage?
Oh, confidence. She is 100% more confident in who she is as a person, knowing what she wants and how she wants to approach situations beyond CrossFit, like whether it's parenting kids or how we interact or stuff she wants to do. She's more confident.
Make me breakfast, Micah.
All the time. I really, it's funny. I'll wait till she's on a meeting. Oh, here's the breakfast place, the CrossFit.
Yeah, he knows.
He does it on purpose now, so everyone can see like the video of him putting a plate
jealous.
down.
No, she's always hustling, dropping the kids off in the car. Now they go to the same school now, right?
They do.
So
the only year they'll ever go to school
I was
together.
like, what is it, middle school or?
No, she's in TK and he's in 5th grade.
Oh, so they're like elementary, like the elementary school together.
For the only year that I think that'll ever happen, but
Right, because
No,
they're
that's
too
a
far
bummer.
apart in high
too
school.
far apart. Yeah.
But at that point, they'll be taking the bus.
Well, we'll see.
He said he thinks it's like, I know what I want now. I'm more confident. I would like to think it's grit. I feel like I have learned to fight through like any freaking situation that comes my way now, and I like seek really hard challenges now, and I think that's really helping me grow the business because I'm like, someone tells me I can't do it, I'm like, let's go, let's do it.
This could be a whole nother podcast.
Let's do it.
I would challenge you
Part
to be
2.
very careful with that.
Yeah.
That is, again, cost of entry is grit if you want to be a business owner. You need to be as hard as nails. But it can be the downfall, meaning like if you seek hard things out simply for the sake of things being hard, then everything will just be hard.
All the time.
Yeah,
It's
all the
burnout.
time.
Full
You know?
plate again.
Yeah, and I've talked about this before. This is a big breakthrough I had like when I was doing ENLIFTED stuff, which is like, hey, what if it was easy?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have, and not everything should be hard.
But it's good when it is that you're prepared to battle through it.
Yeah.
And then also be thinking, how do I make this
it's
easy?
cost of entry. Like if you want to survive as an entrepreneur, like you must work hard. Like it just is baked into the DNA of successful entrepreneurs. But again, and CrossFitters, I think, are uniquely susceptible to this.
Totally.
Because, and you had said something earlier, and this brought it back, which is I think about myself and I think about all the gym owners is like, hey, they're uniquely gifted at doing things that are physically challenging. And I think a lot of times where we need to put a lot of our effort is putting way more effort into doing things that are intellectually or emotionally difficult versus just be like, oh, it's hard, I can deal with the physical pain. I'm like, great, we've all been doing that for 15 years. I would hope so. Why aren't you having that hard conversation? Why aren't you learning a new skill? Why aren't you giving that coach the feedback that you have been complaining about for 6 months? And it's because that's hard, and that's now the thing that you need to focus on, because that is actually what's going to drive the business. It's not all about just doing things because they're hard, but how do I continue to buffer, or how do I continue to develop my skill sets so that things get easier over time?
Sure.
And when you're saying, hey, I'm more confident, you are more confident, but it's more confident because you're smarter. Number one, right? Things get more.
Yeah.
Well, again, going back to like, hey, think about the number of conversations and email exchanges. Like, how many conversations have you and I had about?
Oh my gosh.
About leads?
Well, and that's what I agree. Like, oh yeah, leads, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you come to find out, you're like, oh, I have a churn problem.
Oh yeah.
Let me fix the churn problem and do that. Again, not saying you don't need leads. Like that's a real thing. Like multiple conversations with people I've got this week. But saying I want to get more leads, that's an easier solution than fixing your service and your product. I'm like, go do that. You're avoiding that because that's hard.
Yeah.
Go do the hard thing, the actual hard thing. you know? And I think that's kind of what I brought up on the call the other day. There's a difference between, and I think why you're more confident is because there's a difference between knowing something, knowing what it means, and knowing what to do about it.
Yeah.
And you knew there was a problem. You kind of knew what it meant, but you didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And once you can connect all three of those dots, now you can start to move the needle on whatever the problem is. It might be leads, it might be coach development, it might be one of those things. But that's the way I would classify or describe the process that you've been through. Is like, now when we have conversations, you're like, hey, I know this, I need to fix this, I need to work on this. All you've done is verbalize to me the solution that I was going to give you anyway. And I'm like, great.
That's what you and I talk about all the time now.
Yeah,
is that we talk about how great Best Hour has been, and we're like, well, I don't have questions for the small group because I know all the answers now.
She'll be like, I know what they're going to say. I should just do it.
Yeah, I'm like, why? I don't even need to ask them. Like, I already know.
Affirmation.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like what you said earlier. Like, you don't seek out 30 different people's advice. You know what to do.
I still ask occasional.
Yeah, but the point is like, now you know what to do about it.
Yeah.
But that's the different hurdle, which is like, why am I not doing the thing that I know I should do?
Or the other thing that's really good now is before I would ask what to do, but now I know what to do. So when people tell me I should do otherwise, I say, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, shit. Well,
There you go.
Confidence. In what she wants to do.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, CrossFit FLxR, ran Micah.
Yes.
It's been great. Like we said, in the running. 2024 MVP.
All right,
Completely
look forward.
subjective based on my decision. So it's not really an important award, but Allie,
Sorry, you can announce it
Allie
in
seems
January.
to think it is. She's very happy about it. But it's been great seeing your growth.
Yeah.
And did you want to shake hands?
Yeah, let's go,
Yeah.
man. I thought you were like,
hands.
jeez.
Shake
All
hands.
right, one last thing we're going
Yeah.
to shake hands to. Look in the camera. Give box owners out there 2 pieces of advice or lessons learned that you think would be very valuable, or the things that stick out to you most as an affiliate owner over the past 6 years.
Okay. Have processes in place, man. You got to have processes in place. And
But why?
why? That way it's something that you can do consistently and be able to share those with your coaches or other people who can also be able to run your, produce your vision, right? Like if you have a vision, making sure everyone has the standard, right? Like if we have those processes in place. And for me, that was the biggest thing for like member retention was like, once we got all those systems in place, like we didn't have loss. Like we were so high for a really long time. I mean, we still are mostly, but we're dealing with some like cold lead stuff.
Right.
And then I don't know, do you have one that you can think of?
I mean, for you, what I saw worked out is embrace being the boss. Because you need someone to lead. And we talked about this in some of with our coaches. It's that buddy to boss syndrome, and embracing being the boss. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Buddy to boss.
I like that.
The Ren Allen story.
Yeah, there we go.
Might be changing the title of this podcast.
Christian.
We'll be writing a book later too.
Cool. But yeah, like Jay said, it's been awesome watching you grow. It's been awesome, particularly the last 6 months, I would say. Like
Yeah. I would say so too.
yeah,
Sure.
it's been really fun to watch your mindset shift. Just watch like the way you show up to calls, like the way you interact with people. Very, very rewarding selfishly for me to watch that happen. So super proud of you. If you guys are in the San Diego area, swing by.
Check us out.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, and I appreciate you guys, honestly. Like it really changed everything that we did and helped me grow a ton. So I, yeah.
It was sidebar. Any spouses of gym owners, you don't realize how hard it is. Support them if you can. Don't fight it.
Oh,
Fair.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I think I come home less days complaining. I used to come home and complain all the time. but
There was-
I think
That's a
there's
big
less
deal.
now.
There was a
Yeah.
time frame where it was, I was tired, she was tired, kids were up, and we were like the circle of we need to get
Yeah.
out of this, and I think we're on the better
Finally
side
on
of
the
But
it.
that's an
Right.
important
Yeah.
component of how you define success, which is it should bring positivity into your life, not just a negative all the time.
Yeah.
Because like I think that's a really important point that you bring up, Mike, is that it's virtually impossible to separate the two as an entrepreneur, like your personal life from like it will seep over. Like you get better and better at it over time.
Yeah.
But like having it never seep into your personal life, I'm not sure is possible. So, but super happy for you guys. If you guys are in the
thanks,
San
guys.
Diego area, swing by, come see them, and we'll see you guys next time.
Big thanks to our friends at ENLIFTED for supporting today's show. ENLIFTED provides elite affiliates and coaches with practical, powerful mindset tools that can transform your clients, your culture, and give you and your athletes an unshakable edge. Learn more by signing up for your free mindset training at enlifted.me/best hour.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.